Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you, and you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan, a plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, we're celebrating today. We celebrate every day on Ron Siegel Radio. National Keto Day. Okay, I'm not going to, well, I don't know, keto's probably not bad, although, you know, the shots I've been taking at 116 pounds lost so far, had a goal of 125 by the end of the year, didn't quite get there. 116 is not bad though, is it? Now, I had a conversation with somebody yesterday, and there was 106, they weigh 160, so they said, I've lost almost their entire body weight. Probably a lot of people that I've lost almost as much as their entire body weight. But if you want more information, rsrlinks.com/shot, rsrlinks.com/shot. Now I look at all the items that are available on the National Calendar Day, and Josh comes up with the good ones. I talk about some that aren't so good. Do you know anybody that's ever said, thank God it's Monday Day? I don't think I've ever heard that. No, nobody says, thank God it's Monday. Now, they celebrated the first Monday of January. You know, maybe it's because you want to celebrate something, getting softly back into the new year. We've had the better part of 2 weeks. We haven't done any radio shows. So kind of get used to not having to get up at 4 a.m. and get ready for radio. And Josh sending me the messages at 6 saying, getting some of the stuff ready for the radio show. We start pretty early. It's our show goes live at 9, and people think, oh, you just turn on the mic and talk. Well, I was told early on when I started doing radio, 2010, 3 hours of prep time for every hour of airtime. Seems like it's pretty much that's still holding true. But, being that we are first Monday of the new year, just getting back at it, can we just celebrate with whipped cream? Everything's better with whipped cream. Today's National Whipped Cream Day. On strawberries, that looks good. I'm not going to ask you no question of the day today. We're not going to ask what your favorite place to put whipped cream is or favorite. No, we're not going there. I know it's Monday. I know you've been off for some time. National Whipped Cream Day is today. Let's take a look and see what the markets are doing today. I'm going to tell you, we've got the 10-year Treasury down 3 basis points at 4.158. We've got the Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 820 points. NASDAQ is up 201, almost 202. S&P 500 is up 66.34. Oil is up 88 cents a barrel at 58.20. Why is oil up 80 cents a barrel? Well, we're going to talk about some of that as well. Gas prices. Do we want to know about gas prices? Well, they're down in most of the country. They're down a lot in many parts of the country. We are in the formerly Golden State, so we're not down quite as much as many other places. But I will tell you, now we're showing right here that gas prices, according to AAA, gas prices $4.27 a gallon here in the formerly Golden State. Good morning, Hammer. Glad to have you with us. I was just talking about being on your broadcast early this morning. $2.81 is the national average for a gallon of gasoline. $2.81. And the formerly Golden State, we're over here at $4.27. Not fun. But why is oil up when we got freedom now, or maybe freedom, in Venezuela? Well, they're not talking about, nobody tells you about these things. I watch all kinds of news broadcasts. Yes, I watch CNN sometimes. I watch Fox News. I watch News Nation. I watch KTLA here in Southern California. Exactly. I have that same, we're dealing with him here in California, Newsom, elected president. What a nightmare that would be. But what nobody's telling you about, because you don't get good news. Supposedly Channel 5 is an affiliate of News Nation. They try to be the fairer version, but they're not. Just listen to the commentary, or they call it news, but it's commentary. Now, I do not deliver news. I am a commentator. I am not a news agency, but I read and study a lot. What is the issue in Venezuela that nobody's talking about? Well, when you pay to get your own news and you do research on those sources to find out, are they accurate or not? You find out that really what's going on in Venezuela is all about the country of Guyana. Now, if you watch the news, they did tell us that Maduro was meeting with the Chinese the day earlier in the day when he was captured by the U.S. Now, Maduro was given an exit plan by the president. You didn't hear that one, did you? He was given an exit plan and said, you can go to any one of these countries. And he said, no. I want to go to one of these countries. Weren't on the list from President Trump. He was guaranteed safe passage from our president. He was told that he could take his $200 million with him, and he could take his wife and family with him. That wasn't enough. He wanted amnesty for 200 members of his inner circle, so to speak. Well, that wasn't on the table, Mr. Maduro. Now you've got free room and board, 3 squares and a cot. But I digress. What is it about Guyana? Well, here's the issue. And this comes from former CIA operatives. Okay, so it's not Ron's theory. So here's the issue is China wants Taiwan. We know that China circled Taiwan with the largest military, they called it military exercises.
You know better than that.
So what is China doing? Well, they feel their intelligence says the U.S. can't handle more than 2 or 3 fronts at the same time. Well, China says, well, if we can get them into 4 areas, we can go in and take over Taiwan with no big deal. But the president of the United States knows this. So what does he do? He moves a large armada of U.S. military assets outside of Venezuela. Well, Venezuela and China conspire to going and taking over Guyana. Why Guyana? Because Guyana has massive reserves of oil and rare earths. That's what they're up to. Well, when the U.S. put that military presence in there, well, then the Venezuelans had to step back and reassess their strategy. Now the U.S. puts assets on Guyana. Yes, all part of the Western Hemisphere. So when the U.S. did that, well, China and Venezuela start saying, okay, I guess we can't do that one quite as easily. And then the U.S. goes in and takes Maduro out and brings him back to the U.S. to stand trial for the crimes that he was indicted for many years ago. In fact, even under the Joe Biden administration, they increased the bounty on him. So think about these things. These are, the president, even though you got a lot of people out there, especially in the media, they're out there playing checkers, sort of. President's playing chess. He's looking out 2 or 3 moves ahead of time. And obviously, I pay for the news information that I get. The president has far better intelligence than any of us. So when we got this idiot that came on TV, yes, he was from California, a California politician. So, idiot California politician, they're kind of the same thing. And he comes out and says, the president has no plan, but I haven't been briefed on anything. Well, how does that work? If you haven't been briefed, how do you know the president has no plan? David Min, he's a congressman from right here in Orange County. He comes out and says, this is illegal. Well, of course, we can't expect too much from him. He went to Harvard Law School. And we know about Harvard nowadays. I mean, you look at their grades and all that stuff, that, everybody gets an A and everyone graduates from Harvard now. I guess all you have to do is pay the bill. That's the issue. So think about the underlying activities of what's going on before you just decide, okay, the president doesn't know what he's talking about, doesn't know what he's doing, and he just wants more power. Now, the oil that is in Venezuela, there's a lot of it. So it should push down oil prices. Well, the OPEC said they're not going to increase their oil capacity. It's going to take 8 to 10 years to try and repair what Maduro did to the oil infrastructure of Venezuela. But at least maybe some of the people get food in Venezuela now. Maybe some of them will get health care in Venezuela. I just heard an article that in one remote area of Venezuela, that there's 3 doctors for 7,500 citizens. And Hammer, you're right. We did get this jerk. And, I look at my own tribe, the Jewish people. They voted for Mandami. He called the president to say he didn't agree. I'm sure President Trump was looking for Mandami's certification or approval. Mandami doesn't even know what's going on in New York, no less foreign affairs. Just my opinion, and I'm right. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, more buyers planning to move in 2026. Here's how to get ready. Headlines have you worried about your home's value. We'll talk about that. The hidden insurance gap renters can't afford to ignore. Not sure if you're ready to buy a home. We'll talk about that as well. And the hidden cost of going uninsured. All that and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or RonSiegelRadio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you missed any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452. You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. You need some trusted guidance. We're here for you each and every business day morning. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by rsrlinks.com/mobile app, rsrlinks.com/mobile app. So what happened in the mortgage world on Friday? Yeah, it's a quiet day, so you don't get a whole lot of real good data. But Friday, and we give this to you based on OBMMI. They provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 35% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. They do not tell us points paid, points received, or the APR. They tell us the number you put in your mortgage calculator to identify your principal and interest payment. That's the number you need. Conventional rates, 6.144. That was down. Jumbo 30-year fix, 6.473. That was up. FHA 30-year fix, 6.035. That was up. VA 30-year fix, 5.726. That was down. Hey, we're coming out with our own VA home loan handbook. We're going to have that available for you in the next week or two. USDA 30-year fixed 5.968. That was down. And if you want our thoughts about the market each and every business day morning, rsrlinks.com/HBOD. rsrlinks.com/HBOD. That's our community. We put a lot of good data in there for you, and it's free to you. Now, what's driving the market today? Well, we look at the S&P 500. That's up 63.85. The 10-year Treasury is at 4.156. And we're looking at mortgage bonds. That's up 14 basis points. Now, remember, when the bond goes up, rates go down. 14 basis points, not a huge amount. Nevertheless, that means interest rates should go down on the home loans today. Again, it's all based on your qualification. Now, what is all going on? What are we watching? And what's happening this week? Well, we know that generally, when the U.S. takes some sort of military action, when it's successful, we see the market rally. Is the market rallying? Well, it's up 810 points, so I think the market likes that. When you think about it, so you think about this whole idea that from the time the explosions hit in Venezuela, and this is just kudos to our military men and women and the planning, from the time the explosions first hit in Venezuela, Maduro did not have enough time to close the door in his safe room before he was captured. Just think about that. So it is still a fluid situation. We don't know exactly what's going on over there. It's going to have some impact on oil prices, global relations. You get idiots like Mondami and then the people, the politicians in California. But what's more important to us, two voting Fed presidents this morning, both seeing the labor market as weak, but not ready to adjust rates yet.
Such an idiot.
Yeah, I agree.
Such an idiot.
Yeah, I mean, think about
Such
this.
an idiot.
Philly Fed President Anna Paulson thinks the labor market is weak, but that it will stabilize this year. She thinks inflation will moderate and that later in the year there could be room for a cut, but it could take a while. Guess we don't want to help the labor market. Minneapolis Fed President Neil Kashkari said the labor market has cooled, no question. He thinks the 4.6% reading on the unemployment rate is a clean one, but doesn't take the recent CPI data too seriously because of data collection issues. He thinks inflation will come down this year mainly because housing disinflation will continue and non-housing services inflation will also moderate slowly because he thinks it's closely tied to wages, which have been decelerating, not going down, but decelerating. But he feels the Fed is currently at neutral because the economy is doing so well, which means that he does not think the Fed should be cutting, but that they are well positioned to cut again if needed, presumably if inflation comes down and labor weakens further. He did warn that inflation could spike in January, as we have seen several times within the inflation reports as prices reset for the year. Healthcare is one item that needs to be watched closely. Well, does that surprise anybody?
Surprise, surprise, surprise.
Now, we are going to be getting a new Fed chair in May, which that will be good for interest rates. You know as well as I do. The president will be putting somebody in who is, more inclined to lower rates, or at least they tell the president they're more inclined to lower rates in order to get the job. We'll see what happens. Wednesday, we get the ADP jobs report and the JOLTS report. That's the job opening and labor turnover report. Jobless claims comes in Thursday. It's going to be a low number. Do you really think anybody's spent last week saying, I've got nothing better to do on this holiday week than to go and file for unemployment? I don't think so. So they're expecting 216,000 last week. It was 199,000. I think it's going to be a low number. The 10-year Treasury, it's still under 4.2. Friday is going to be the big day for data. We're going to get a jobs report on Friday. So we're looking at non-farm payrolls. They're expecting 55,000 job creation. Very, very low number. They're expecting unemployment to go from 4.6 to 4.5. A lot of that has to do with rounding because we were at, I think, the unrounded number was just barely enough to get us at 4.6. I think it was like 4.56. If it drops 0.2, now we're down at 4.5. It's not a full tenth drop, but that's the way it's going to look anyway. And we're expecting an increase in consumer sentiment. That's not a big mover. The big ones for the week are non-farm payroll and unemployment rate, which both come out on Friday. So we'll be watching all those numbers for you. And remember, if you want to get that data, if you want to hear our commentary or our thoughts as early as that information comes out, rsrlinks.com/HBOD, rsrlinks.com/HBOD. That's the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by rsrlinks.com/mobile app, rsrlinks.com/mobile app. And we got a lot of new tools coming out for you this year. We've been working, yes, even though we didn't do radio for the last couple of weeks, that doesn't mean we've been sitting back and just partying, although we did some of that too. There's some real cool stuff coming out for you, and we're excited to bring that to you. Your Credit Matters today being brought to you by rsrlinks.com/debt-free, rsrlinks.com/debt-free. What if I told you that 60% of renters have zero insurance protection and a single accident could wipe out years of savings? Here's what most renters don't know about their risk. I am Ron Siegel, Certified Liability Advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. Let me share a story that happened recently. A family renting a condo in Irvine had a friend visit for dinner. The friend slipped on their patio, broke their wrist, and needed surgery. The medical bills? Over $45,000. The lawsuit? Another $30,000 in legal fees. The family thought their landlord's insurance would cover it. They were wrong. Here's what most renters miss. Your landlord's insurance covers the building, period. It doesn't cover your belongings, and it definitely doesn't cover liability when someone gets hurt in your space. So what does renter's insurance actually protect? First, your personal possessions, fire, smoke, lightning, theft, vandalism, explosion, windstorm, water damage, except floods. Take a minute to add up what you own. Your laptop, phone, TV, furniture, clothes, kitchen items. Most renters I talk with have $20,000 to $40,000 in their possessions they didn't even think were worth protecting. Second, liability coverage is the big one that catches people off guard. If a visitor gets injured in your apartment, if your dog bites someone, if your teenager accidentally damages property, you're personally liable. Renter's insurance covers these damages and your legal defense costs if you're taken to court. Third, additional living expenses. If your apartment becomes uninhabitable due to a covered event like a fire, where you're going to stay, or where are you going to stay? Renter's insurance pays for your hotel and additional costs while your place is being repaired. Now, here's where we need to talk about the details, because not all coverage is equal. There are two types of coverages: actual cash value and replacement costs. Actual cash values pays to replace your items after reducing for depreciation. So that 3-year-old laptop that costs $1,200, you might get $400. Replacement cost pays the actual cost to replace items up to a policy limits. That's the smarter choice for most situations. If you have high value items like jewelry, art, collectibles, you want to add a floater to add to your standard policy for additional protection. Here's what surprises most people. Renter's insurance is incredibly affordable. We're talking $15 to $30 a month for solid coverage. That's the cost of 2 coffee runs, but it protects you from financial disasters that can set you back years. Think about this through the safety, liquidity, and return framework we always discuss. Safety means protecting what you have. A $30,000 lawsuit drains your emergency fund and your peace of mind. Liquidity means keeping your cash available for opportunities, not emergencies that have been insured. Return means your money working for you, not replacing stolen or damaged items you could have insured for $20 a month. If you're living with a roommate or a partner, making sure you understand how the policy covers both of you. State regulations and insurance policies vary, so have that conversation with an agent up front. One more thing, just like we encourage families to shop their homeowners and auto insurance regularly, the same applies to renter's insurance. Your situation changes. Review your coverage annually. Make sure your deductibles still make sense for your current situation. Bottom line, if you need a referral to a trusted insurance agent who can help you get proper renter's insurance coverage or if you want to discuss how insurance fits into your overall financial strategy, visit rsrlinks.com/keysteps, rsrlinks.com/keysteps to get your financial house in order. Remember, strategy beats rate always, and sometimes the best strategy is simply having the right protection in place before you need it. I am Ron Siegel, your certified liability advisor, helping families like yours build wealth through strategic debt management. That is the Your Credit Matters segment, brought to you by rsrlinks.com/debt-free. rsrlinks.com/debt-free. When we come back, more buyers are planning to move in 2026. Here's how to get ready. Pre-approval should be your first step, not an afterthought. All that and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel's number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Confused about the home buying process? Or curious how much you really know about buying a home? Take the First Home IQ quiz to test your understanding of buying a home. Created by the nonprofit First Home IQ, this 5-minute quiz will give you a score, what you missed, and why. Take the quiz in 5 minutes at rsrlinks.com/FHIQ and find out what you need to know about buying your first home. That's rsrlinks.com/FHIQ.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio. Welcome. Holy cow. Is this Monday or what? You just need some trusted advice, and that's what we give you. There are opportunities everywhere, and we give you that trusted advice. All you need to do is call us 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. More buyers are planning to move in 2026. Here's how to get ready. Momentum is quietly building in the housing market. New data from NerdWallet shows more Americans are starting to think about buying a home again. Last year, 15% of respondents said they plan to buy a home in the next 12 months. This year, that number rose to 17%. That 2% increase might not sound like a big jump, but in a market where buyer demand has been cooling for the past few years, it's a sign things are starting to shift. More people are feeling ready, or at least closer to ready, to take that leap and buy a new home in 2026. And if you're in that camp and buying a home is on your goal sheet this year, this is your nudge to connect with a local agent and a trusted lender, that's us, to start laying the groundwork now. And we have the names and numbers of the trusted agents who are actually doing business in every zip code in the U.S. If you're eager to get the ball rolling right away, here's what to tackle first. Get pre-approved. And that's simple. You just go to our website and set up a time for a dreams and goals call. You fill out the application at sltloanapp.com, sltloanapp.com. Pre-approval gives you a real understanding of your buying power and what your payment could be at today's rates. But keep in mind, experience says most pre-approvals are only good for 30 to 90 days. So this step makes the most sense as you're ready to get serious. Number 2, run the numbers. Look closely at all your expenses to come up with your budget. Consider what you're spending on other bills and what your monthly mortgage payment would be once you buy. That way, you go in with open eyes and you don't stretch too far. Number 3, define your non-negotiables. Once you know the numbers work, figure out your must-haves. This includes your desired location, commute, layout, school district, lifestyle needs, etc. Getting clear on these now makes decisions easier once you start looking at homes. Choose your agent early. Look at reviews online and talk to multiple agents to find one that you trust, that you also click with. The right agent does more than show homes. They help you understand pricing, competition, timing, and strategy before you ever write an offer. Think about buying later in the year. This is still your window to prepare. Even if your buying feels like a late 2026 goal, this moment still matters. The buyers who feel the most confident later are usually the ones who quietly prepared earlier. This doesn't mean big financial commitments or lifestyle changes. It just means setting yourself up so you're ready when the timing is right. Here are a few low-stress ways to do that. Work on your credit. While you don't need to have perfect credit to buy a home, your score can have a direct impact on your loan terms and even your mortgage rate. So working to bring your score has its perks. Paying down debt now and making payments on time can help bring your score up. rsrlinks.com/keysteps. rsrlinks.com/keysteps will give you an idea where your credit score is. It's not your FICO score. If you want the FICO score, rsrlinks.com/FICO. That gives you FICO scores. But KeySteps helps you get ready. And it even shows you tools in there, the what ifs. What if you have this much money to spend? You get your tax return. What if you do this with it? How much will it impact your credit score? Number 2, automate your savings. If you have to remember to transfer money into your home buying savings manually, you may forget to do it. So you may want to set up automatic transfers to drive consistency and remove the temptation to spend the money elsewhere. Number 3, lean into your side hustles. Do you have a gig you do or have done before to net some extra cash? Taking on part-time work, freelance jobs, or picking up a side hustle can help give your savings a boost. Number 4, put any unexpected cash to good use. If you get any sudden windfalls like a tax refund, bonus, inheritance, or cash gift from family, put it toward your house fund. You'll thank yourself later. The common thread here, the right prep work makes a difference. rsrlinks.com/keysteps. rsrlinks.com/keysteps. Bottom line, if buying a home in 2026 is on the radar, let's start the conversation today. Not to rush a decision, to make sure you know how to get ready for the moment, because every move, whether it's next year or later, is smoother when it starts with a plan. And if you need help coming up with one that works, let's connect. That is the Real-Time Real Estate segment, brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Let's see, what do we have here? I think that we can do Mortgage 101. Mortgage 101 is brought to you by rsrlinks.com/Sora, S-O-R-A, rsrlinks.com/Sora. Why pre-approval should be your first step, not an afterthought. Finding the right home feels exciting, but being pre-approved for your loan is what makes it possible. Whether you're planning to buy soon, hey, don't forget about getting pre-certified. Josh, what is that one? rsrlinks.com/ if I know how simple of a person I am, it's probably called rsrlinks.com/certified. Certified buyer. rsrlinks.com/certified buyer. rsrlinks.com/certified buyer. That takes the pre-approval to the next step, right? We're going to give you a QR code for your Apple Wallet or your Google Wallet. No one else does that. rsrlinks.com/certified buyer. So what is a pre-approval really? Pre-approval is much more than a guess. It means a lender has reviewed your finances, things like your income, assets, credit scores, debts, and savings, and told you how much they are willing to let you borrow for your loan. It's basically a reality check for your home search, so you can make sure it aligns with your budget and shop confidently when you're ready to go. Why it's a power move, especially right now? The housing market's been shifting lately with mortgage rates moving, prices moderating, and inventory rising. So knowing what you're working with in the current market is a big reason why pre-approval matters. Here's how it gives you clarity. You'll know, here's what it gives you. Clarity. You'll know what you can afford before you fall in love with a house that's potentially out of reach. Confidence. Sellers will take your offer seriously when they see you're pre-approved because you're not a risky buyer. That's why getting certified is even more important. That is rsrlinks.com/certified buyer. control it. If rates come down and you want to jump on the moment, you're already a step ahead with your plan. As Experian explains, you'll want to make sure you receive the pre-approval letter before you start looking at homes so you can submit a strong offer as soon as you find what you want. The process can take anywhere from a day to a few weeks, so if you procrastinate, you may lose out in a competing offer, unquote. And once you find a home you want to put an offer on, your pre-approval has another big perk. It not only makes your offer stronger, it shows sellers you're already undergone a credit and financial check. As Greg McBride, chief financial analyst at Bankrate says, quote, pre-approval carries more weight because it means lenders have actually done more than a cursory review of your credit and your finances, but have instead reviewed your pay stubs, tax returns, and bank statements. A pre-approval means you've cleared the hurdles necessary to be approved for a mortgage up to a certain dollar limit, unquote. And the certification, that just goes another step beyond. And we even put a video in there saying, hey, we've been talking to you. We've done that dreams and goals conversation. You've got this all laid out in a professional manner where the seller or the seller's agent can just click on the QR code that's in your wallet and they can get all kinds of data that we've put together to make your offer stand out from everyone else. Translation, pre-approval helps you make stronger, more informed decisions. Pre-certification takes it to the next level and helps you avoid missing out on a home or getting stuck on the sidelines when the right one hits the market. Because the reality is, competition might be lower these days, but desirable homes, especially the ones that are priced well, still go quickly. Number 3, don't wait until you're quote unquote ready. Think of it this way. Pre-approval doesn't mean you're buying a house tomorrow. It just means you'll be ready when the time comes. And most pre-approvals are good for 60 to 90 days and can be refreshed easily if your plans change. So here's a good place to start. Ask yourself this question. Quote, if the perfect home came along today, would you be ready to make an offer? If your answer is not quite, then pre-approval is your next step. Get started. rsrlinks.com/keysteps, rsrlinks.com/keysteps. And you can take a look at rsrlinks.com/Sora, where we do a 30-second pre-approval checkup. This is a pre-approval. Bottom line, pre-approval doesn't box you in, it opens doors. In today's market, buyers who win aren't the ones who wait, they're the ones who plan. So if you're even thinking about buying in the next few months, get ahead of the game by connecting with us. We'll give you an agent or 2 or 3. We can be your trusted lender because we've only been doing it for decades. The team will help you understand how the process works and walk you through every step along the way. So when the right home pops up, you are ready. That's Mortgage One, brought to you by rsrlinks.com/Sora, rsrlinks.com/Sora. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, let's see. Not sure if you're ready to buy a home. Ask yourself these 5 questions. I think that's a good one. And headlines have you worried about your home's value? We'll talk about that as well. You can reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference in the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, your trusted source for great information. We give it to you each and every day. Let's see. All right, what do we have here? Mortgage Minute. Mortgage 101. How's that? Mortgage 101. Brought to you by rsrlinks.com/Sora. rsrlinks.com/Sora. Not sure if you're ready to buy a home? Ask yourself these 5 questions. If you're trying to decide if you're ready to become a homeowner in the next 12 months, there's probably a lot on your mind. You're thinking about your finance, today's mortgage rates, home prices, the current state of the economy, and more. And you're juggling how all these things will impact your choice. It's a lot. But here's what you need to remember. While housing market conditions are definitely a factor in your decision, your own personal situation and your finances matter too. As an article from NerdWallet says, quote, housing market trends give important context, but whether this is a good time to buy a house also depends on your financial situation, life goals, and readiness to become a homeowner. So instead of trying to time the market, focus on what you can control. Here are a few questions that can give you clarity on whether or not you're ready to make a move. Number 1, do you have a stable job? Buying a home is a big commitment. You're going to take out a home loan stating you'll pay the loan back. Knowing you have a reliable job and a steady stream of income is important and will give you peace of mind for a purchase so large. Number 2, have you figured out what you can afford? If you have a reliable paycheck coming in, the next thing to figure out is what you can afford. This depends on your budget, spending habits, debts, and more. At this point, it helps to talk with a trusted lender. We'll be able to tell you about the pre-approval and the pre-certification process and what you're qualified to borrow, current mortgage rates, and your approximate monthly payment, closing costs, and other expenses you'll want to budget for. That way, you have a good idea of what to expect. Become a certified buyer. rsrlinks.com/certified buyer. Number 3, do you have an emergency fund? As you crunch your numbers, you want to make sure you have enough cash left over in case of emergency. Think about it. You don't want to overextend on the house and not be able to weather the storm if one comes along. It's not a fun topic, but it's an important one. As CNET says, quote, you'll want to have financial cushion that can cover several months of living expenses, including mortgage payments, in case of unforeseen circumstances such as job loss or medical emergencies, unquote. Number 4, how long do you plan to live there? It was mentioned before, but buying a home comes with some upfront expenses. And while you'll get that money back and more as you gain equity, that process can take some time. If you plan to move again soon, you may not recoup your full investment. So how long you should stay put in an ideal world? Lawrence Yoon, chief economist of the National Association of Realtors, explains, quote, 5 years is a good, comfortable mark. If the price of your home appreciates considerably, then even 3 years would be fine, unquote. So think about your future. If you're going to live there for a while, it may make sense to go for it. But if you're looking to sell and move within a year or two because you're planning to transfer to a new city with that promotion you've been working so hard for, or you anticipate you'll move to take care of family, those are things to factor in. That's part of the dreams and goals call that we have with borrowers all the time. Number 5, do you have a team of real estate professionals in place? I call it a household board of directors. If you do, great. But if you don't, finding a trusted local agent and a lender is a good first step. Call your local radio host. That's me. We can take care of the lending side for you. If it's the state that we're not licensed in, we can refer you out to somebody that's trusted in that area. We know real estate agents in every zip code of the United States. We have a report card on the ones that are really doing the work. So all you have to do is give us a call there as well. Do you have the estate planning attorney? Do you have the insurance people? We know them. That's why we call them a household board of directors. The pros can talk you through your options and help you decide if you're ready to make your move, or if you have a few more things to get in order first. Bottom line, If you want to have a conversation about the most important things you need to consider when buying a home, just give me a call at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. That is Mortgage 101, brought to you by rsrlinks.com/Sora, rsrlinks.com/Sora. Sora is a great tool. If you haven't gone there yet, 30 seconds is all it takes to fill out 5 questions on the site. 5 questions. I could do it in my sleep because I already know my name. And, it's really simple. So when you go over there and fill out those 5 questions, we're able to give you an idea of where you stand just with a very, very brief conversation, rsrlinks.com/Sora. Also, while we were on our little hiatus, the new home buyers and home sellers guides were released. rsrlinks.com/HBG for the buyer's guide, rsrlinks.com/HBG. Get your home buyer's guide. And if a thought about selling is on your mind, rsrlinks.com/HSG. rsrlinks.com/HSG will get you the home seller's guide. Obviously, we spoke about it a little earlier. Know your FICO score, not credit score. So I'm going to give you a couple ideas here. When you go to rsrlinks.com/FICO, rsrlinks.com/FICO, we're going to help you get your FICO score. That's a real FICO score because of the way we link into it. rsrlinks.com/FICO. It does cost you a little bit of money, but a little bit of money might save you a whole lot of money. So let's think about that one, rsrlinks.com/FICO. You're going to want to make sure you get ready. So track your credit score on a regular basis. You're going to want to monitor your credit reports for identity theft. You can put a budget in. Oh yeah, I'm talking about key steps. rsrlinks.com/key steps. rsrlinks.com/key steps. It's all right there. And if you're a renter right now, well, maybe you want to look at the rent versus own analysis that we've put together for you. rsrlinks.com/RVO. rsrlinks.com/RVO. And you can take a look and see, what does it really cost you to wait? rsrlinks.com/RVO. Lots and lots of tools to help you. And we put them out there just for your benefit. And as always, I ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Josh and Sean who are engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.